Are you thinking about moving to Florida? Let me tell you about Merritt Island, one of Florida's best kept secrets here on the Space Coast. From affordable and beautiful waterfront living to rocket launches right in your own backyard, Merritt Island is where you want to be. In this video, I'm going to cover what I know about Merritt Island, its history, what it is today, and what I think it'll be in the future. On top of that, I'll give you my personal recommendations on where I'd live, judging on your situation if you have the choice to move to Florida and Merritt Island. So, you're thinking about moving to Florida. Don't skip Merritt Island. Most people don't even know Merritt Island is here. There's plenty of waterfront living, and they're not gonna make more anytime soon. Lots of space history and a laid back environment you can't find anywhere else. Before I dive right into it, let me talk about the history of Merritt Island. Before NASA showed up in the 1960s, this was mostly ranch land, fishing community, and just citrus groves. When Kennedy Space Center was built, this area exploded. Housing boomed, neighborhoods grew, and this area boomed. It became a core part of what we call the Space Coast. And funny enough, Merritt Island is not a city, it's a CDP. That's a census designated place, which unofficially gives it a little bit more of a laid back mentality, rules and regulations, and just an easier way of living as most people see it. A lot of people know people here, a lot of people have moved here, grew up here, and retire here, so everyone kind of knows everybody. It's a mix of old Florida charm with plenty of new opportunity. Now, Merritt Island is surrounded by water, so let's talk about that. Let's talk about the waterfront communities and what the history behind that is. So a lot of people don't know this, but a lot of the canal frontage here in Merritt Island was man-made, all dug out. This was done around the 50s and 60s and 70s to start bringing that attraction to the area. This was to give all those homes access to Sykes Creek, Indian River, Banana River, and everywhere in between. The main purpose of this was to give those Space Center employees and many people attracting to the area one hell of a space view. You can see rocket launches in your backyard, and you have the leisure and luxury daily, on the weekends, whatever you want, with the boat lift and boat dock in your backyard to go out on the water whenever you want. Whether you wanted to fish, relax, watch a launch from a different view, or anything in between, that waterfront was created not only for work, but for pleasure. Trust me, this is not your regular suburbs. Whether you wanted to kayak out in the water, just enjoy the sunrises and sunset, or just catch some sun in the backyard and have a beautiful view, that waterfront does it for you. Let's talk about the homes and the neighborhoods that exist all over Merritt Island. And for this example, let's at least subdivide Merritt Island into 3 equal parts: North Merritt Island, Central Merritt Island, South Merritt Island. North Merritt Island being everything north of the 528 highway, Central Merritt Island being everything between 528 and 520, and South Merritt Island being everything south of 520. There are definitely a handful of homes built in the late 80s and early 90s, but most residential homes were built from the 50s and onwards. You can find ranches on acreage built in the 50s all the way up to brand new homes still being built today on $1 million waterfront views. South Tropical Trail, or like I mentioned, South Merritt Island, that is where you're gonna find a lot more luxury, a lot more waterfront with land, and just that much more of that lifestyle. It definitely has its other type of homes, more built for the first-time home buyer, families, and everything in between. But as you go deeper south, you will see an amazing drive and also some amazing homes. There is a long stretch of South Merritt Island that sees both rivers on both sides, so you have river to river view, and some homes have river to river access. Central Merritt Island was built for those families and those employees that wanted to live both the perfect suburb lifestyle with the waterfront lifestyle. You'll find neighborhoods like Sykes Cove, Waterway Manor, Diana Shores, Catalina Isles, Hampton Homes, and so many more. And then everything along North Banana River Drive, those homes were all built between the 50s, 60s, and 70s, and definitely obviously some built later on by individual homeowners wanting the bigger or newer home. All those homes range with pretty similar floor plans and pretty similar layouts, but with the years and years that have come by, you'll find everything from the original 60s build all the way up to the brand new homes still. Many of them are sized perfectly for your small families, some medium-sized families, and of course the bigger and nicer homes can fit whatever you and your family would desire. And then North Merritt Island is full of a little bit more acreage of homes, and we've seen a lot more new development in that area comparative to Central Merritt Island and South Merritt Island. So no matter your taste, somewhere in Merritt Island fits the way you want to live. Now let's talk about what the economy, job growth, and just the overall state of Merritt Island looks like. Its growth has been amazing the last few years. The original boom was definitely in the mid-1900s when NASA first found their home to be here. And let that speak volumes. NASA had plenty of places to be, and they chose Merritt Island specifically. Today, we see major players, major hitters, lots of private companies, and lots of private money pour into this area. I'm sure you've heard of Elon Musk with SpaceX, Jeff Bezos with Blue Origin and Amazon, and so many more companies have found their home in North Merritt Island, Cape Canaveral, and surrounding areas, and that helps Merritt Island as a whole. In the last few years, we've seen thousands of jobs added to this area. A lot of highly skilled workers come to this area, and that's a constant flow of engineers, pilots, and professionals that bring a great economy to this area, which in turn has helped housing a lot. Add in your mix of work from home individuals too, with great paying jobs, and that has helped this area really stabilize and grow its economy. What's crazy is the homes that I mentioned back in the 50s, 60s, and 70s were able to be bought for $20,000, $30,000, $40,000. Homes in the 60s, 70s, and 80s were bought for $60,000, $70,000. Those today have turned into huge equity gold mines for a lot of the old homeowners. Today, those same waterfront homes range from $400,000 all the way up to easily $700,000, $800,000, and $900,000. It's a clear sign the last 2 years what this area has to offer has created quite the demand. And don't worry, we're not losing all of our character. We haven't sold out completely to the commercial world or the corporate world. Yes, you can find a Target, a Walmart, an Aldi, a Home Depot, a Chipotle, a few Starbucks, and so many more other places in this area. But at the same time, you'll still love all the local hotspots we have here. Some of my personal favorite have to be Dolphins Waterfront Bar and Grill. My breakfast spot for many years when I was in high school at Merritt Island High School was Big World and Donut Shop. A great lunch or dinner anytime is Pacific Rim. And Margarita Island in our Merritt Square Mall has been amazing. If you just want a beer and a few good eats on the water, Marker 24 is a great spot for that. And let's not forget the community. The community runs deep in its history and its kindness. Crime is virtually non-existent here. We run very well with the US standard of crime. There is nothing that goes on. Of course, you have your odds and ends and little things like theft and whatever else, that's anywhere. But actual true harsh crime, there's nothing. There are plenty of neighborhoods, plenty of places to stay that you'll see the typical garages left open, front doors left open, neighbors being neighbors, and everyone watching each other's back for the right reasons. Lots of the community runs deep, like I mentioned before. You have a lot of residents that have been here for 5, 10, 15 years plus, and their whole lives. I myself have lived in Merritt Island ever since I was 10 years old, and I've only moved around recently, so I've lived in Merritt Island for over 18 years. And with great A-rated schools like Lewis Carroll Elementary, Jefferson Middle School, and Merritt Island High School, all schools I went to, those present a great opportunity for families to be growing here. That's why so many locals have stayed and so many people are moving here. Not only is the opportunity exists for the adult, it exists for the children too. Now let's talk general home pricing of the area. If you're looking for a 3 or 4 bedroom home, a general size of 1,600 square feet up to 2,000 square feet, more the classification of a first-time home buyer or someone who's had their first kid, somewhere to upsize just a little bit from a smaller 2-bedroom place, you're probably looking anywhere from $300,000 all the way up to $500,000 depending on your finishes, with or without a pool, and lot size. The most typical, normal, and good home you can get around here, let's call it a 4-bedroom, 2-bath, 2-car garage, non-waterfront, updated enough, maybe even fully updated, I'd put you in the high $300,000 range to the mid $400,000 range. If you're wanting to live that waterfront lifestyle, there are some major differences with the waterfront in this area depending on what your needs are. If you're wanting to get out to the river or just have a good view, a couple big differences which I'll cover in a different waterfront video specifically. But if you want a same 4-bedroom, 2-bath, 2-car garage, let's say maybe with a pool on good water frontage, normal lot and a well-updated home, you're probably going to be in the high $600,000 range to the mid to high $700,000 range. Where that varies from there, of course, is on so many factors like more square footage, more water frontage, or the specific water frontage you want to be a part of. Like I said before, being in a neighborhood, let's say Sykes Cove versus Hampton Homes, big difference for your typical waterfront homeowner and your boater. But if those things don't matter, you can easily find a budget waterfront option in places like Catalina Isles, Hampton Homes, the west side of North Banana. Those you could probably range from a $450,000 price tag up to a $650,000 price tag. And let's talk more luxury lifestyle. If you're looking for the river frontage, you want to be on an acre or more, have a bigger home, let's say over 3,000 square foot, you're definitely going to start in the lower $1 million range. And depending on a lot of those other factors I just mentioned, like acreage, size of home, water frontage, area, you're definitely going to be in the higher $1 million range to lower $2 million range if you want to achieve the higher end of a lot of those things. What I love so much about any of those things I just said, North, Central, or South Merritt Island, you're still so close to everything you need to be. You're 10, 15 minutes, even easily 2 to 5 minutes away from everything you need for your day-to-day life, like Publix, Target, Walmart, small food places, small owned businesses, and everything in between, and then all your corporate stuff like I mentioned before, like Chipotle and gas stations, whatever else. Life is only 5 to 15 minutes away almost anywhere in the Merritt Island. So even if you wanted to live in a luxury area or first-time homebuyer area, a lot of different cities, states don't offer those things within 5, 10, 15 minutes. Sometimes you gotta drive 30 minutes to your local grocery store. In Merritt Island, that won't be the case. Now, I'm gonna jump to Ohm in the home office. He's gonna talk about where he'd live personally and some hidden gems if you are a specific niche group looking for a specific home. Thank you, Ohm from the home studio. This is Ohm at the home office. So I'm gonna personally talk about my personal picks and my hidden gems if I was in certain niche situations for Merritt Island. We'll kick it off with family. So in a situation where I have my own family, wife, kids, the whole 9 yards, a couple dogs, I'm gonna give you two scenarios, HOA or no HOA. If I was more of a fan of an HOA, I would hover North Merritt Island. But my top pick personally for North Merritt Island is going to be right here in the Indian Bay Estates area. This neighborhood is so cool because every home was custom made back in the 90s and early 2000s. Half of them on the water, half of them are not on the water. HOA is pretty clean for the most part. It's not too up your butt about things. And then also the values have always stood so well and it's so neighborhood oriented. It's the perfect mix. If you're wanting a newer neighborhood, along Chase Hammock and East Crisafulli over here and at the end of Chase Hammock, Miranda Homes at this time is building plenty of homes, but if you want an example of what they can build or how well they can build, that would be one of my choices, is the specific area right here of Miranda Homes has built Egret's Reserve and I think Egret's Landing or Egret's Cove. I forget which name that is, but they began building here and extending out the building right above it. These are brand new builds from 2019 and onwards. Those are great builds, quality build by Miranda Homes. There's a few small neighborhoods existing right here, Savannah's Landing, and then right here, which doesn't show homes, but it is built, Armand Grove is around right here. These two neighborhoods are brand new from 2020, 2021, and also 2022 for the Savannah's Landings, and then Armand Groves is 2024, 2025. That'd be my choice. If we're in a little bit of a budget situation but want a great neighborhood, the HOA is a little bit more HOA-ish, but Sunset Lakes right here is a great choice for people and families. Now let's shift over if I was somebody who has no preference and does not like an HOA, where I would hover is South Merritt Island, south of 520, but specifically as I zoom in, around this bend, this is the middle school, Jefferson Middle School, and this is Rotary Park. Right past Rotary Park, above Plantation, that's the neighborhood here. This section I am a huge fan of. Of course, a couple of these are randomly HOA like Marsh Harbor and stuff, but most of these are no HOA. South Merritt Estates right here I love a lot because all the homes again are very unique. Great budget between 400 and let's say 700 to 800. Now these homes all have such character too that If you're looking to renovate your own property, or you're just looking for some character, no HOA, still so close to everything you need to be, because both locations offer, there's a Publix right here, a Publix right here, a Target right here, a Walmart right here. You got everything you need, plus 2 major roadways to get to wherever you want. So great locations if you're looking for a family-oriented place. If you wanted to hover more south, which I still would hover more south, I would also choose this little section right here and everything down here. These 2 areas, there's a couple of HOAs that exist, but a lot of these side streets and main streets aren't HOA oriented. There's a few HOAs here and there, but most of them are so easy. And when I say HOA, I mean it very lightly. They just exist because they just keep the front of the neighborhood nice, and maybe there's a community dock they have to take care of. That's about it. So these South Merritt Island areas I love for no HOA for the most part. Easy access to everything you want to be access to. You're still exclusive, you're still private. Great people, great easygoing people live all around there, so it's awesome. So if I was a first-time home buyer and I wanted a home between that 350 range to 450 or 300 to 400, some of that range, I would personally hover right around this area. I know a lot of it is waterfront, and it is divided into a few different sections because of the neighborhoods. The more north you are, the more valuable the property is going to be, because the waterfront is more favorable and the homes are nicer and bigger. But as you go down, the homes are a little bit less expensive. Hampton Homes in Catalina Isles is not as nice as Diana Shores and Waterway Manor and Villa de Palmas / Sykes Cove, but the non-waterfront properties in these neighborhoods, because half of them are waterfront, half of them are non-waterfront, I would love the budget to fit with one of these homes. You can, again, with some character involved, they're a little bit older built, but they're solid. 60s and 70s, they used concrete block, and the good concrete block, not today's concrete block, and they're great homes. They all are similar floor plans, so they're easy to work on. You kind of know what to do. And again, if I wanted just a little bit different location, same situation, this west side of Banana presents plenty of opportunity for this 3-bed, 2-bath, 4-bed, 2-bath, 1-car, 2-car garage, 300 to 450 range. Of course, the lower you are on the range, the more work you probably have to do, but great budget areas. Down in South Merritt Island, everything above, like I mentioned before, we mentioned Jefferson Middle School and Rotary Park. Everything above here and between 520 is also a very good spot for first-time homebuyers. Of course, not the waterfront over here and the condos over here and some of the bigger homes, but a lot of the little ones, like over here in Bel Air, is full of homes in the 300 to 400 range. And these side streets like Brandy and Palm and things like that all have great homes in that price range. That's where I put my money. Now, if I was a snowbird or a second home looking for a vacation home, I would hover anywhere in Central Merritt Island or Newfound over here. I would do some waterfront property in the $500,000, $600,000, $700,000 range. This Sykes Creek area and all the waterfront that exists throughout. Great options, because then you can split yourself if you want to go right east to the ocean through the locks, or go west to the Indian River to just enjoy these islands. That's a great spot to be. If you're someone looking for a little bit more open water, this east side of North Banana is great. If you're looking for the cheaper alternative, the west side of Banana is great. I would range homes in the central waterfront market to be anywhere. Super big range, because there's so many homes that are so different, such different sizes and neighborhoods. Anywhere from mid 400s all the way up to $1 million easy, but typically 600,000 to 700,000, like I mentioned before. North Banana, the east side is direct rivers, so you're going to be more valuable here, probably in the 500 to 800 range, and then your oddball houses that are huge for 900 or $1 million or plus. Or the west side that has similar homes, just has some access points that are tough to get through by boat, right here and right here. But there's 2 or 3 access points you can get to the river, but your boat is limited. You can't have a big tower type boat, or it has to be a foldable type tower to get through those areas. That's why this west side values are probably 400-ish to 700-ish in waterfront. So you'll have 100 to 200 grand discount on this west side of North Banana. So if I was somebody who wants yes, it's a little scary maybe to think about owning waterfront as a second home, but I'm telling you, these are all man-made from the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s. All these canals to be able to get out to Sykes Creek, Indian River, and the Banana River. So with that being said, they're not making any more. So your investment's pretty solid. Our appreciation for waterfront has gone steadily up, especially during COVID. So I would put my money here if you want a great second home and a great vacation home, but also I would do it because the investment's safe. So if I was a luxury buyer, whether I'm in the $1 to $2 million range or $2 million plus range, if I was a $1 million plus buyer, I would put myself probably somewhere on Newfound first, definitely waterfront. If I was between $1 to $2 million or even that $1 million mark, I would definitely put myself along South Tropical or Dragon Point if budget allows, and probably stop somewhere around here. I would aim for waterfront because, like I mentioned before, not making any more of it. It is a hot product for this area. As you can see in Miami, what does waterfront cost? So as we keep going north, waterfront still holds value awesome, but I didn't finish drawing Dragon Point. So with these areas, Newfound just presents a little bit difference of privacy and exclusivity because it is one solo road all the way down to here. You are closer to a Walmart right here in central Merritt Island, and a little more central to schools if that's a concern, but also the homes. A lot of these ones on the east side are direct east facing to west facing homes, so you get the sunset, and a lot of these east that are west facing to east facing get the sunrise. A lot of these homes on the east side are tough because the land isn't amazing. With some, you only get third acre, half acre, but a lot of them are still full acres. The east side presents bigger land. You got 1 to 2 acres per lot, and some of the ones have normal lots, but amazing, cool homes, all sorts of values and sizes. And then that same exact thing I'm going to pin for South Merritt Island. It's just even more exclusive. It's got even bigger land, bigger lots. There's 5-acre properties. There was a piece of land for sale that has 30 acres. But usually 1 to 5 acres is pretty normal for all these random homes as you keep going down the single road. Only trouble there is it is a single road. Anywhere from over my circle up to like central Merritt Island can take 10-15 minutes, but it's still awesome to live here. The east homes are tough. Those lots are pretty small for the most part. Some are big randomly because people combine lots, but most of the west ones, especially down here, you could see these home symbols. They own like a slither, and that slither is worth 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 acres. So if I had that money to park 1 million, 2 million, I would definitely look into waterfront here or waterfront here. If you're not into waterfront or you want to, this is my personal pick, I would be patient and I'd look at North Tropical and North Merritt Island and North Tropical Trail in Central Merritt Island, and then South Tropical Trail leading up to South Courtney down here. All along here, you have a lot of these side streets, and I've been to like plenty of these houses. At the end of each side street, there are a few houses on the river, so you can see a bunch of houses on the river, and a lot of these again do have an amazing amount of land, like this one for example. Like that right there is probably 3 acres plus. So this is where I'd park some money if you want some great privacy, like these right here, and everything along these ends and up here. These are 4, 5, 6 acre properties up here. They're very exclusive, very rare to come to market. That's where I'd park money personally if I wasn't a fan of waterfront, or I just want a different type of waterfront, really away from everybody. Plus, they're so rare, they're so unique. I love these values and like these homes because they are so exclusive. They are so different. They're so interesting. They all have a story behind them. Of course, many are outdated, but if you're in the $1 to $2 million range, I'm sure you have a budget to renovate. But they all have a cool story. They all have some history to them. And again, it's waterfront. They're not making more. So I'm gonna get back to Ohm in the home studio. He's gonna finish off this video. If you have any questions, definitely let me know. So let's wrap up Merritt Island as a whole. Even though it has so much to offer, it perfectly doesn't scream for attention. It's water, it's community, it's history, and it's convenience. It has it all. So whether you're retiring, relocating, or just want something different, let's talk. I'll help you find the spot that makes the most sense for you. Trust a local like me.